While I start my presentation, I want to give floor to my colleague Ketevan Kimosteli, who will say in few words about the organization, which gives us opportunity to work with Ukrainian children, and what we are doing now, and what plans do we have in the future. Katie.
No, thank you, Sophiko, and thank you all of you. I'm Ketevan Kimosteli. I present our organization. This is World Vision Georgia, which is based in Georgia as a different countries of the world. And we are working, we have a project, Ukraine Crisis Response, which gives all of us opportunities to work and to help psychosocial support for children and their family members. We start our project and activities on March, and at this time in Georgia there were children, partly they have no experience to be in a war. They were just like tourists in Georgia, but when the war began they could not go in their countries, in their homes, so that's why they were living in hotels and they were just listening over negative information all day long. And after 2 weeks, we had also those children who had experience to be in a war situation. That's why we, me and my colleagues, also Sophiko and Tamar Zhordania and Ghviniashvili and other, decided to work with them like volunteers. But my organization, World Vision Georgia, began to support our activities. And at first time we have activities in the hotel because of they are not going in the kindergarten schools and other. They were living in very little rooms, and all day long they were watching TV and information about war, and their family members have to some difficulties in their daily life. So we decided to change their daily life. We began to make with them music therapy and inclusive dance, like music and dance synthetic activity, which in Georgia we are making in a different rehabilitation centers or inclusive theatrical studios and other. Also we have some memorandum with the Federation of Football or Theaters, in which there is a Russian language, or there are many songs and dance and music, and they were going in every weekend in the theaters and other. After this everything, our government and our Ministry of Education prepared for school, 2 of them in Batumi and 2 of them in Tbilisi, and they prepared Ukrainian sector, and they nowadays they are going in school, and there is everything okay, but they have not books, and they have just copies, but World Vision Georgia prepared a huge amount of books from Kiev, and in Batumi we make some we make a library for children. Then Sophiko and other psychologists joined us, and Sophiko began to work with children in Tbilisi nowadays with Mythodrama, as you said, and Maya Tsibalashvili, she is working with adult with cognitive behavioral therapy. We are preparing to make this service in Batumi also, because there are studying 800 children in this school, and in Tbilisi we have 1,000 child in this school. So that's why we are giving them different kind of services and humanitarian also. We prepared for them kids package, like developmental toys, like stationery for school. Also we are helping schools to give them the stationery technology and other equipment which is needed for studying and other. So our project is going on, and after January, we will begin all our services in Batumi too. Sophiko, thank you. That's all. If you have some questions after Sophiko and after Tamar and Anna, we can answer your questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. I'd like to share a small presentation about the method we are using. And as I know today, Alan Gimbrel, who is the founder of the method, also presented the method, and he was speaking about it and how it works. And I just want to share my experience because this method is really very useful with while working with children, and especially with children who has trauma. And I want to share my experience because we started to work with this method in 2016 with IDP children who were internally displaced after war in August in 2008, and this was the age group 14, 16, and it was they were not exactly children, they were adolescents, and it was very interesting for us because when we started to work with them, we were waiting their reactions because, as you know, Mythodrama method means like storytelling. Yes, it is a method which is founded on Jungian psychotherapeutic method, and we are giving to children some kind of stories which are unfinished, and these stories have a kind of myths in it, unfinished myths, and children should express their reflect to them the meat which it is given to the story, and give them final the finish of the story. And it was very interesting that children, adolescents in 14, 16 years age group were doing very well, and for them it was kind of strategy to overcome their trauma, which they have difficulties to talk about, because it was very interesting, and I think it will be applicable to Ukrainian internally displaced people as well. When you leave your place of living and you move to another place, but you are in your own country, you speak your own language, but still you have some kind of problems with adaptation, because they are local people, and they are you who are who don't know how long you stay there, and who don't know what will be with you and with your family, and they were feeling themselves like foreigners, not locals, and it was really a big trauma for them. And when we started to work in these groups, the main problem which appeared was this problem of adaptation. We also worked with IDP children who have never seen the war. These children were from Abkhazia, and as you know, in Abkhazian war in Georgia was in 1992, very long years ago, and these children have never seen war by themselves, but it was like a transgenerational trauma, because they have heard about the war, and their parents were still talking about this trauma which they experienced, and it was very severe, because they lost everything. This is one thing, and another thing was that they went very difficult way to come from Abkhazia to Tbilisi or to another cities like Rustavi, where we used to work with these children, and with them we also use this Mythodrama method. Now what we are doing in Tbilisi, we have three groups. One group is age 6-8, it is small group. Another group is 9-10 years old, small group. We have also group with our with the children and parents. We work together, like their small children, 4 to 6 years old, and their parents are also joining us. And while we are working, we are doing everything together. What we are doing with the children, the parents are doing the same. They are like they're trying to act like children, and what kind of instructions we are giving to children, we are giving the same instructions to the parents. And in my opinion, it's like a therapeutic method, not only for children. It helps not only children, but it's very therapeutic for parents themselves, because they also are able to exchange their emotions with their children and with other parents as well. And we also have like presentational meetings at school with age group 6-9, and it was a really big group. And although Mythodrama doesn't work with big groups because there's some kind of a schema, and we should follow this schema. Still, it was possible with some help of colleagues, but it was possible to work with a group where 23 children were in the group. I just briefly want to introduce how this Mythodrama group is going on. We have some kind of some kind of schema, as I already mentioned in the beginning. We have like a ritual to say hello, always the same and playful way. Then we have like some psychosocial exercises which are connected with self-expression, recognition of emotions, or working in peers. And for example, today with age group 9-11, we played driver and car, which is very interesting game for them, where one in peer closes eyes and another one is driving him or her through the room, and it helps them to trust the partner, and it helps them to understand the feelings while you are trust somebody, or when somebody is trusting you. And then we are sharing the emotions, and we are asking, what do you like, and what do you prefer, to be a driver or to be a car? And then we start this storytelling, which is like also ritual. We have candle, which is lighted in the center of the room. It's there is some dark in the room, and we are telling the story. And from the beginning, they know that there will not be any ending of the story. And when in the very, very interesting moment the story stops, they're starting to create their own ending of the story. They are drawing and sharing the endings. And after that, they are forming groups in which they choose the ending of the story, and they performing the story. And at the end, we have like a small like breakfast or something like this, where we have snacks. And this is very good opportunity, especially with small children, with children who who are in small age to discuss the problem which was risen in the story and how they resolve. Today we had the story about friendship and about the true friendship, and it was very interesting because all of them were eager to share their stories, and friendship for them is a very important topic because they left their friends in Ukraine and they now try to find new friends. It is not always easy, and when we try to choose the topic, we always want to choose the topic which is relevant to the problem they are having. And then we have like farewell ritual, also some kind of a small game which is always the same, and it is like saying the goodbye. And the thing is, we work in Russian language because we don't know Ukrainian language, they don't know Georgian language, and the thing is that we are trying to say hello and farewell in Georgian language to share the culture somehow, because they all know how to say Tamar Zhordania and Nahwamdis. This is the small, how to say, the scheme we work with. Now I want to share one picture which I want, for me it's very, how to say, expression of the war. It is very interesting for me because it is a shared picture, which means that from the beginning we are playing the game like a game where one starts to draw, and then the paper goes around the circle and everybody tries to add something, and at the end of the end the picture goes to the person who started it, and he tells us what's the story about. And it is very interesting that in the beginning the picture, it was like the circle, only this one circle, and then what do you see on the picture was drawn by almost every member of them group. And at the end, when it came back to the beginner, and we asked him to produce and to reflect what is seen on the picture, he said that there is a war, and there is two sides of the war who are trying to kill each other, and he said that in the middle there is a person who started this war. And it was very how to say, significant for me, because really this person is so looks like a person who started this war, and it was really emotional reflection of the child. And what else I want to add, while working with children, we had conducted only three meetings in each group, but what is very important, that topic of war is open coming out, and it is of course very normal. We when we are trying to work in the group, we never mention war itself. It's not our aim to talk about the war, but very often they are starting to talk about their experience, to ask each other where are you from, and what you were doing during the war, and how you escaped it. And although they are small children, they manage to share these emotions and information about war, and it's very important. In their stories, they are killing enemies, and they are trying to survive, and it's also very sufficient for the stories. And they are sharing their experience of leaving houses, and they're playing and like the way they're able to make their own stories. It's very important that what we are doing, it's a very playful way, and they are able not to be very serious, but act, react, and reflect what they feel. Because, for example, today was very interesting episode. They started playing some story, but in the middle they changed the story, and when we started to reflect about it, they were able to explain why they changed the story in the middle, because there was a different ending, and then they played a different ending. This is a small information what I wanted to share. And when we were working with Georgian children, it is like 12 to 15 meetings in each group, and the results were always very important. We have seen how children change, how their emotional responses changed, and I'm sure, and I hope that it will be vision in these groups as well, that children's responses and their emotional state will change at the end of the group. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, I will be glad to answer. I'm not describing the Mythodrama method very detailed, because I know that Alan was presenting today, and I'm sure he also shared the information about it.
Thank you, Sophiko. Now I will ask to Tamara and Anna to present dance and music therapy, synthetic therapy, which we are doing with the children from Ukraine. Tamara, are you here?
I'm here. Hello. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Good evening again. We're glad to be given the opportunity to speak in front of you about an important project for us, which includes a synthetic music and dance therapy program called Fusion Arts. I'll share my screen just for a minute. Here we are. So this is our music and dance activities. And there are exercises where improvisational or pre-planned rhythmic actions are performed using various musical instruments. Exercises are adapted to children with different disabilities, and it's also important that developing their limited opportunities is based on emphasis on their strong sides. Let's just overview for a minute separately what are music therapy and inclusive dance, if you don't mind, of course. Music therapy is a clinical and evidence-based musical process. We may call it intervention, used within the therapeutic relationship to achieve individual goals. In addition, music therapy is a universal method of interaction, what is able to communicate with people even without verbal communication. This unique form of therapy allows us to get closer to people, share their problems, feelings, emotions, and help them through musical dialogue. About inclusive dance, I would say that it supports the development of intellectual, emotional, and motor functions of the body. Dance has many benefits for the harmonious development of a person. First of all, it satisfies the desire to move in the space, to interact with itself and others. Dance gives a wide opportunity to express the inner world, raises the mood, and frees us from complexes. So it's possible to develop a person's physical, mental, and emotional sphere and social adaptation skills through dancing. So in addition, dance has therapeutic benefits, a practice that has been successfully implemented around the world. So there's a question about how this idea came to us. So the idea of a music and dance synthetic therapy program, which is called Fusion Arts, was born as a result of many years of theoretical and practical experience of me and Anna Ghviniashvili, the inclusive dance teacher, and working together. So the main goal was to combine two different art directions in one therapeutic hour, which would be organically connected and give us a dual result. Within the framework of the World Vision pilot program, the idea of which came to our colleague and psychologist Sophiko Gogochashvili, while working with children who came to Georgia as a result of the Ukrainian war, dance and music synthetic therapy exercises were adapted to their needs. So 3 months of intensive therapy meetings soon showed results, as demonstrated by the children's full involvement in the process, positive attitudes toward the activities, and high attendance rates. It should be noticed that the project envisages two-way involvement of parents, active and passive. So the main goal of this project is to identify the possible traumas, crises, disorders of the beneficiaries, and to integrate the body, soul, and mind through the harmonious combination of musical instruments and the different dance movements. So, of course, the project has both short and long-term goals. They are adapting to the environment and integration into the group, creating and maintaining a positive mood, and cognitive, emotional, and physical integration. This is our short-term goals. And about long-term goals, they are keeping order and improvising, listening, patience skills, improvement of attention and memory, improvement of also of musical and dance rhythm, and of course the gross motor skills. So we have 5 fundamental principles. So I would say we are more like guided by 5 fundamental principles. They are protection of physical and psychological safety, protection of professional ethics, equal involvement of beneficiaries, tolerance for mistakes, clear and understandable communication. And I will add, if you don't mind, that presence of humor is one of important parts of our sessions, because sometimes it happens that the whole meeting might be based on one pleasant or funny moment or story, and we continue the process through various tools around this story, and the process continues that way. So we also have the structure, the session structure of this synthesis session, and it doesn't differ much from general therapeutic group music meetings, where a similar structure is offered, which is an international practice. So they are opening activities. So we start with the greetings, introductions, setting the mood, maybe through instruments or rhythmic movements. Intermediate various synthetic exercises will be in the middle part. And finally is closing activities, relaxation, summarizing, and ending with a viral activity. It may be some rhythmical or some song maybe that we will think of together. So the process of music and dance synthetic therapy, we use various resources. They might be musical instruments, photo and video slides, supporting groups, musical works especially created for synthetic therapy, and there are indicators for also session evaluation. A barrier-free and positive environment is created during the session. Beneficiaries are fully and equally involved in the activities. harmonization of body, soul, and mind will be achieved with the beneficiaries during the session. The activities provide an opportunity to improve the various skills of the beneficiaries. So, in conclusion, I would like to add that it's important for us to lead the sessions desired by the beneficiaries systematically and consistently, because this principle is necessary to achieve any results as much as possible, despite various obstacles and seasonal virus attacks. We still manage somehow to maintain this consistency and stability. Hopefully it will continue the same way. So this is all we wanted to share, me and Anna, with you at this moment. Thanks for attention. Дякую.
Дуже дякую за доповідь, Тамар і Анна. Даруйте, що на початку трохи не було інформації, все монтувалося прям наживо. Ваша робота дуже цінна і цікава. Хотілося б дуже більше дізнатися, але ми обмежені часом. І, колеги, якщо є ще у вас запитання, будь ласка, ви можете їх задати доповідачам.
Велика вдячність за допомогу українським дітям в проживанні їх важких часів. Дякую вам, особливо тим моментом, коли ви працювали як волонтери. Велика подяка.
Алло. Я перейду на русский язык. Вы меня слышите по-русски? Да, можете по-русски меня слышать. Так будет короче. Вот, мы собираемся победить Россию, поэтому можем спокойно использовать русский язык. Я думаю, что после победы нам как бы ничего не помешает. В том числе и общаться с нашими прекрасными коллегами. Ваша группа была юнгианская группа в Тбилиси, была с самого начала братской для нас. Проекты начинались одновременно и одними и теми же людьми. И я просто счастлив видеть вас на нашей конференции. Просто счастлив, и ваш доклад, и уровень, он прекрасный, и очень мы благодарны то, что вы работаете с украинскими детьми, это невероятно ценно, и мы ждем когда-нибудь увидеться в офлайне, или у нас в Украине, или в Грузии. Я так понял, что все-таки мой вопрос очень простой. Вот как юнгианская основа помогает вам в работе? Я так понимаю, что много из вас есть все-таки юнгианцы, да?
Sophiko, you are switched. Please mute if you are.
Okay. I can speak in English, in Russian. Actually, children, they helped me to speak in English very much. In Russian very much. So well, thank you very much. And what I want to say, the thing is that as we all know, in Jungian therapy, archetypes is widely used, and all the stories which we use are using the archetypes, like archetype of different archetypes and archetypes. And when we are trying to create a story, usually from the beginning it was like that Alan Guggenbull, the founder of the method, he was creating a story and giving us the stories, and we were together playing the stories, trying to find endings, trying to testing the stories to find out that these are the correct archetypes which should be used, and which reflect the inner unconscious mind of us. But then we started to create our own stories, because, for example, now we want to reflect on the stories which are relevant for the children. And as I already mentioned, me and Alan, we discussed the possibility how we can help the children, and we decided that we should create the stories which should be more applicable for them. For example, we create a story about a small little giraffe who have been lost, who traveled in a different country where there was no leaves which he used to eat, and what now he is doing, how he is trying to survive, and he does not know the language, he does not have a food which he loves, and he does not have friends, and what he can do. And the story about little giraffe was very popular, so even now children talking about it. So mainly, yes, it is based on archetypes, and it needs more work to understand what kind of archetype should be chosen. But sometimes it is maybe less professional story when we by our own are creating. For example, I am creating only, I'm alone creating it. It's always, of course, better when you work with your colleagues, and you have opportunity to test the story, and to give to others to review it, and to give some kind of feedback. It, of course, it's better, but not always it happens.
Нам час закінчувати. Дуже дякую, колеги. І те, що об'єднує зараз нас музика, танець і історії, це дуже великий ресурс. Моє уявлення про Грузію – це таку дуже країну, яка співає, танцює, має природний ресурс. І зараз те, що ви можете цим ділитися, дуже цінно. З великою любов'ю до того, що ви робите. Дякую. І до нових зустрічей обов'язково.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.